Myles Garrett still got to 18.5, 8 tackles, 2 TFLs, a PD, top 3 for the Browns. Martin Emerson, 30.1 points. Emerson Biggins, you called it.
It's the IDP show, now you know.
Welcome to the IDP show. I'm your host, Josh Raymer, joined in the Sode Shack tonight. On my right, Adam Markham. Addy, how are you, hon?
Doing wonderful, Josh.
You're sitting here, got a little sweat going, got several of your teams in the mix for buys and playoff berths. I mean, this is
big week,
stressful evening.
big week, pretty much a playoff week. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. There's pretty much every single league that I'm in. Yeah, this week matters a lot. You know, either whether it be trying to lock up buys, trying to get in, you know, trying to better position yourself, you know, all that everyone knows.
Yeah, but you're looking at potential buy.
Good year, very good year.
In a couple leagues that you really care about.
Yeah, really good year.
And fighting to get in one of your other big money leagues. So
all the leagues that matter, we're looking good in all those.
Nice, very nice.
So best balls have been good. You've been doing good in the best balls
yes,
as
sir.
well.
Yes, sir.
So I mean, just business as usual.
Business as usual. And we got 2 games tomorrow night on Monday Night Football
That's
happening
fun. I saw
concurrently
that.
at
That's
the same
cool.
time.
More bets to place.
That's right.
Love it.
How have the bets been doing? Let's get
They've
down
been great.
to the real
They've
thing.
been a lot of fun. Always nice to have some action constantly.
Little sweat, just multiple sweats. Sweats down the front and the back.
Yeah.
So speaking of bets, as we mentioned a couple times already, the fantasy season is winding down, but don't go anywhere. The start of the new year, once the NFL playoffs start, we will be doing episodes of IDP Bets before every round of the playoffs to give you a reason to tune in, a reason to care about IDPs, even if you don't do playoff fantasy football, which you should. It's a lot of fun. But even if you don't do that, we'll give you a reason to tune in and check out these IDPs. So we're sitting here watching the end of the Sunday Night Football game. Cowboys up 2 scores on the Eagles right now.
Cowboys red hot.
That's what I'm saying. Now, I can hear Johnny right now, but they'll blow it in
absolutely.
January, and that's probably true. But man, they look really good right now.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. You just worried that maybe they're shooting their load a little too soon.
Yeah, they're peaking a little early.
Yeah. You got to be careful not to crest too soon.
Well, I feel like it's a little bit different this year because you have McCarthy, which I never thought I would say, but Mike McCarthy calling plays. This team has been one of the best offenses in the NFL, and the Chargers, who got Kellen Moore from the Cowboys, have really been struggling as of late. So that could be the X factor, the difference. And CeeDee Lamb's looking like a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. So, I think they've got playmakers on both sides of the ball. Dak's playing well.
Defense. I mean, that defensive line is awesome. Great pass rush. Really deep rotation. We've talked about it often this year. So
yeah, and the Eagles just look out of sorts, I think was the phrase you used. Like I don't know. I think Collinsworth said lethargic. So kind of pick your descriptor, but
it's been a tough stretch for them.
Not looking like the best team in the NFC. If you get beat pretty handily by the 49ers and the Cowboys, that puts you 3rd in the pecking order, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that is a tough stretch for an offense to go through. So, I mean, they're going to struggle. It's going to, how do you bounce back from that stuff? We'll have to see. I mean, it's not good so far, but I think they'll get it together. They'll be fine. They'll be in the mix there at the end.
Oh, yeah, of course. I expect it to be those 3 teams in the mix. Who's the 4th team? We'll see. Because
who won the first matchup
of the
Philly?
I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and look. But you could say that 4th team could be a berserker though. Lions, Packers.
Lions are kind of reeling right now.
Yeah, Packers are hot. So I don't think none of the other teams scare me that are kind of in the well. The Rams. Took the Ravens to the wire today.
Yeah,
if they get in.
The Rams are sneaky good, I think, and then Cooper Kupp seems to be getting healthy. I kind of like them to.
But the Vikings,
sneak in. No, Vikings. It might be Nick Mullins' season.
Yeah, so it's just a bad
Josh Dobbs season officially over.
The Pasternaut has been blasted out of the airlock. You hate to see it. Love Josh Dobbs the person. I just think the Cinderella story has come to an end. But we're glad you guys are here. This is the Week 14 recap. We're going to go through every game except for the 2 Monday night games that are happening tomorrow night. Speaking of tomorrow, we will have Mike Wallert on for waivers. So if you're in the playoffs, tune in because we're going to be talking you through all the players you need to be looking to pick up off of your waivers. And then we have a very special Dynasty episode coming out with Sigmund Bloom and Dynasty Trip, both from Football Guys, that will be dropping on Friday, as well as Jace's ranking episode with John Norton from Football Guys as well. So it's just a big Football Guys week. We're going to get you right for the playoffs and for the 2024 offseason as we look ahead in our Dynasty leagues. But, Addy, let's go through the Week 14 slate here. We added, this guy re-added his name to the wall. Maxx Crosby, 40 points against your Minnesota Vikings. He becomes the second player on the season, along with Myles Garrett, to record 2 40-point games. So just another monstrous performance from, is he the... we're going to vote on IDP MVP, which is more personal for most people in terms of like who do they draft late that was a top 12 at their position. But him and Myles Garrett are right up there in terms of like the most impressive IDP performances this season.
Yeah, I think so. As far as like where you drafted them stuff, like they've delivered.
Yes, they have.
Maxx Crosby has probably been the most consistent though out of anybody. Like he hasn't had any of these stretches where like, what's going on with Maxx Crosby? Like he's still giving you like a solid tackle floor every single week.
And he has a knee injury. That's the thing too, that is like he's doing all of this with a knee injury that basically keeps him out of practice each week.
Yeah. This was another great matchup for him. But he's just super impressive. The amount of snaps that guy plays.
Insane.
And also, I've just noticed that's been a trend lately. They're letting Micah Parsons is starting to join him. He's playing like 90% and above now. Like there's a lot of these prolific edge rushers are starting to play really like almost like, off ball linebacker type snaps.
Crazy. Yeah. If you want to make the case for Maxx Crosby IDP 101, that I think is where your case starts, is the fact that the guy does not have these swoons that we see from other edge rushers, and he plays 98% of snaps, basically every single snap in every game. Yeah. I think they asked him if he was going to be playing, and he said, as long as I'm breathing. So love that attitude from Mad Max. But what do you say we jump into the recap, Addy, and go to Thursday Night Football, a game that I expected to be a total stinker, and of course, as is tradition, it ends up being a really good game. Patriots and Bailey Zappi get the 21-18 victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have now lost to, I think, the Cardinals and Pats back-to-back. So headline for the Patriots, the Pats linebacker role started the season as reliable, productive position with just Juwan Bentley. Now it's slightly more messy with other guys on reduced snap counts providing production. Juwan Bentley, 100% of snaps, 8.25 points, 14.68 points per game average the last 5 games, but Jelani Tavai, 71% of snaps, 14.5 points this game, 9.65 points per game average the last 5. Top 3 for the Patriots. Kyle Duggar, safety, 18.1 points, 7 tackles, half a sack, a PD, and 2 QB hits on 100% of snaps. And there's Mack Wilson, 17.35 points, 3 tackles, a sack, a PD, and a QB hit on just 29% of snaps. And then Jabril Peppers be hot, 15.95 points, also playing 100% of snaps. 100% of snaps. So very interesting that we suddenly have 2 safeties who are getting 100% of snaps in New England. On the Steelers side of things, Addy, Nick Herbig could get plenty of opportunities to shine as the season winds down due to Highsmith sustaining a neck injury and TJ Watt entering concussion protocol. Father Time may be undefeated, but Cam Hayward is holding him at bay with old man strength. Nick Herbig, 10.75 points, 7 tackles and a TFL on 79% of snaps. He stepped in relief of Highsmith. And then it was a great game for the linebacker who was left standing there in Pittsburgh, Landon Roberts, 20.5 points, 6 tackles, a TFL, a sack, a PD, and a QB hit, 81% of snaps. The aforementioned Cam Hayward, 17.8 points, 6 tackles, a TFL, a sack, and a QB hit on 75% of snaps. Then the other linebacker, Mykal Walker, 15.75 points, 3 tackles, a pick, and a PD on 44% of snaps. A lot to dig on here, Addy. Where do you want to start?
I guess shout out Cam Hayward. This is his second sack in the last 3 games, so nice to see him back and back to his old ways. Landon Roberts, like you said, 81% of the snaps. That was nice after he played 22% the week before and exited with, I think it was a hamstring, some type of groin, something like that.
Lower body injury.
Something like that. But so, yeah, good to see him back and getting those snaps. Her big is him big. I mean, this could be very nice if Highsmith were to miss any time or TJ Watt, but even if not, I mean, I feel like they're going to try and get this guy on the field more. I mean, all he does is produce when given the opportunity. So, yeah, I mean, I think you got to be encouraged with what you've seen from Nick Herbig this year.
Him big, huh?
Him big.
I like that.
Blake Martinez, he got 4 tackles in this game.
Got to catch them all.
He played 37% of the snaps. We'll see what type of role he has going forward.
If one of these guys goes down, he'll probably step right into like a 70% of snaps role.
Yeah, and I mean that could very well happen. Landon Roberts does get banged up. He kind of plays with like reckless abandon. So I mean, he can easily get miss some snaps or something here.
And Michael Walker's not a guy that I would worry about holding off.
His snaps were down too compared to the previous week. I mean, he played
44% of snaps.
Yeah, and he played 96% in week 13.
So what's going on there?
Don't like to see that.
Yeah. You asked if the Cowboys and Eagles, what the result was. Week 9, Cowboys lost 28-23 to the Eagles. So it looks like they're going to potentially split the season series here. Let's move on to the next game, though, and talk about the Falcons falling to the Buccaneers. 29-25, Buccaneers now in first place in the NFC South. Headline for the Falcons: while we love waiver wire linebackers, not all spot starts are created equal, as Andre Smith, filled in for Nate Landman in a purely mediocre way. 8.5 points, 8 tackles, top 3 for the Falcons. You know who it is at number 1. Jesse Bates, 17.25 points. He's averaging almost 19 points per game the last 5 games. He had 9 tackles, a TFL, and a PD. Kentavious Street, defensive tackle, 13.95 points, 3 tackles, a TFL, a sack, and a QB hit. And then Clark Phillips, cornerback, 13.25 points. Over on the Buccaneers side, this was the battle of the top 2 safeties in IDP this week. Antoine Winfield Jr., currently in Fuego, having not scored less than 15 points since week 9. If you started Levante David in his first game back from injury, he didn't kill you. 10.5 points, 6 tackles, and a PD. Top 3 for the Bucs: Carlton Davis, 23 points, 4 tackles, a pick, and 3 PDs. Zion McCollum, cornerback, 21.75, 9 tackles, a forced fumble, and 2 PDs. And then Antoine Winfield Jr., 19.8 points, averaging 20 points per game his last 5 games. 8 tackles, a sack, a forced fumble, and a QB hit. Winfield Jr. continues to do it all, Eddie.
What a stud. Yeah, we gave him his flowers last week, and pretty much every single week we love some Antoine Winfield. That is safety 1 in Dynasty, folks. Kalijah Cansey, another sack this week. That gives him 4 on the season. And remember, he missed 3 games. So
I like that a lot.
Rules up for Kalijah Cansey. I think they got a really good player there.
I think you could make an argument that for IDP purposes, Kalijah Cansey belongs in the conversation with Jalen Carter as far as rookie defensive tackles.
Yeah.
That's just my take. I mean, look at the production. Both of these guys have been very, very impressive in year 1.
Yep.
So what about on the Buccaneers side of things, Addy? We had Jesse Bates once again doing the damn thing, leading the way. Hopefully we get Nate Landman back. I don't know what the severity of his injury was, but, not fun when the 2 of the 3 names on the top 3 for the Falcons are guys I don't recognize.
Yeah. I mean, but yeah, Andre Smith, is that right? That's his name?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he was fine. I think there may have been a stat correction because it was actually 12.5 points, 8 tackles, and a forced fumble.
Ooh, so he got a FF. Very nice.
So that's not terrible. I mean, Landman started out a little slow. It took him a little bit to kind of get his feet wet and all that stuff. I mean, sometimes it takes a little bit. Andre Smith has not seen a lot of the
we're at the
NFL
Andre
field.
Smith part of the season, folks.
Right. So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, you got to get him. I mean, I think he's a great ad.
And we'll talk about him on waivers, I'm sure, if Landman is not healthy. So I wanted to look it up. So
same with Duke Riley. While I'm thinking of it, and we'll get to Miami. Well, no, I guess we won't. I think Duke Riley is someone you have to add right now. That Jerome Baker injury looked awful.
He's on IR.
He did go to IR.
Yes. I did the IR update for Leasy this weekend, and so that was the one name on the IR updates that I read for.
I figured
defense.
When I saw like it wasn't as bad, like I figured like it was be like, oh yeah, he's definitely done for the year.
Yeah. He out. So I just wanted to pull it up. Kalijah Cansey, 82.6 points by Big Three scoring overall. Jalen Carter's playing right now, but he has 94.75 points. So both guys should end up north of 100 points in their rookie season, which is very good. So let's keep it rolling, though, Addy, and talk about a very surprising game. Now, granted, C.J. Stroud did go out of this game with a concussion, but Jets whoop up on the Texans 30-6. And for the Texans, the headline was Will Anderson Jr.'s running mate, Jonathan Grenard, has made himself a decent amount of money this season as he notched sack number 10 this week. Blake Cashman sustained a hamstring injury in this game, possibly clearing up the linebacker group for Christian Harris and Denzel Perryman. Christian Harris, 14.25 points, 5 tackles. Jonathan Grenard was going crazy in this game. 32.6 points, 6 tackles, 2 TFLs, 2 sacks, a PD, 2 QB hits. Sheldon Rankins was next. Defensive lineman, 16.5 points, 2 tackles, 2 TFLs, a sack, and a QB hit. And then Denzel Perryman, 16.5 points, 4 tackles, a TFL, 2 PDs, and a QB hit. Macri tweeted the snap counts for the Texans, Eddie. Can you pull that up while I read the Jets recap here? On the Jets side, Will McDonald secured his first full sack of the season this week. How are we feeling about McDonald and Dynasty? Meanwhile, CJ Mosley logged another dud this week, making it back-to-back games of 8 or fewer points. Will McDonald, 11.55 points, a tackle, a TFL, a sack, and a QB hit. CJ Mosley, 8 points, 4 tackles, and a PD. Top 3 for the Jets. DJ Reed continues to be very good, especially in CB-required leagues. 17 points, 12.15 average the last 5 games, 4 tackles, 3 PDs. Quinnen Williams got himself a sack to go with 3 tackles, 2 QB hits, and a TFL. 15.85 points, 13.42 average the last 5 games. And then Sauce Gardner, 15.5 points, 4 tackles, a TFL, 2 PDs. What you got for me, Addy?
All right, so those Houston Texans linebackers, Week 14 snap breakdown. 93% for Christian Harris. Denzel Perryman had 84%. Jake Hansen, 37%.
Bop, baby.
Blake Cashman had 29% before leaving in the second quarter. Blake Cashman seems to get hurt a lot. That's been kind of his thing. It's almost like, we've at some point I've been like, why hasn't he done more before, now? But it's like, he gets hurt. He gets hurt all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, that's right. He's one of those guys.
So it's like Denzel Perryman also gets hurt all the time. Christian Harris is bad. Henry To'o is bad.
Yeah.
So maybe it's Mbop that is the guy we need to be paying attention to there.
Probably not.
Probably not, but who knows, folks. Christian Harris, probably a priority ad if he's out there on your waivers, which he might be because he's been so up and down this season. But Perryman also might be on waivers in some leagues. So if you had to prioritize, which of those 2 guys are you picking up?
I mean, probably Christian Harris, just because I think he's been the guy that when he is out there, he does seem to get a healthy amount of snaps. Like sometimes Perryman can be like in the 65, 70% range.
You want to say Perryman.
I do want to say Perryman.
Deep down, you want to say Perryman.
He's been definitely a letdown this year. It's been a bit of a bummer.
Well, he's been hurt.
He's been hurt, but I mean, still, we expected a little more from Perryman.
Come on, Denzel. Let us down the big spot. Any other takeaways? Nervous at all about CJ Mosley? 10.8 points per game average the last 5 games. That's not great.
No, not nervous. I mean,
he's an LB2 at this point, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think you can put him in the top 12 and pin. He's kind of fallen into that LB2 category.
You asked about Will McDonald.
Yes.
I think we feel great about him.
Absolutely.
Dynasty. I mean, we haven't really faltered much on his rankings.
Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald.
They've both been very high.
Locked and loaded edge rushers for the Jets next
I was
year.
a little maybe too excited about Will McDonald early on in the season.
That's all right. He's a first-round pick.
But yeah, we tampered it down a little bit, but he's still he's a top 25 edge asset, I think.
Yes. Anyone with first-round draft capital who has a clear path to a role in his first, 2 seasons should be ranked very highly.
Jalen Petre's been a big disappointment this year after what he did last year, I guess he's still been solid, but I mean, last year he was bonkers.
Of course. There was only one, your safety one. There's only one way to go. I didn't think he would fall off this much. He's been banged up, so that's part of it. But even when he's been out there, he's been okay.
Yeah. Thought we were going to see another big game from Will Anderson. What did he get?
He wasn't
banged
on
up
the
with.
Yeah. Oh, did he get banged up?
I think so. I saw where he was questionable.
Oh man. Well,
hopefully it's nothing serious.
I was at the in-laws' house.
He got an ankle injury in this
Okay.
game.
Yeah, questionable return, ankle injury. Let's see. Yeah, I was at the in-laws' house without Sunday tickets, so we were just watching the Colts game and commercials, so I didn't get to pop over to Red Zone and see any of this.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is how it feels to live in like the late 90s watching football.
Kind of nice.
No, it wasn't. I did not like it at all. A lot of talking to my family in between commercials. So let's keep it rolling, though. Addy, talk about the Panthers continuing their descent into hell, falling to the Saints, who are in a hell of their own, 28-6. Headline for the Panthers: another week, another disappointing performance from Brian Burns. Can you remember such a fall from grace as Jeremy Chins from Dynasty Safety 1A, 1B, behind Derwin to dead weight on even the deepest of rosters? Brian Burns, 4.25 points, just 11.17 average the last 5, 1 tackle, 1 TFL. Jeremy Chin, 2.25 points, 7.16 the last 5, 3 assists. Top 3 for the Panthers: Derek Brown, defensive tackle, 22.2, 12.5 the last 5, 10 tackles, a pick, a PD, QB hit. Derek Brown's a nice option in defensive tackle required leagues, has been all season. Frankie Louvu, probably going to get a nice bag. I could see him getting like a Caden Ellis type bag, where it's like the smart GMs know that this guy is a difference maker. 18.9 points. He's averaging 11.25 the last 5, 4 tackles, a TFL, a sack, and 3 QB hits. And then JC Horn, welcome back. Good to have you back for the playoffs. 12.75, 7 tackles, a PD. The Saints defenders ran wild on tiny little Bryce Young, and the Panthers offense with 7 players in double digits. None of them named Pete Warner, though. Just 5.6 for Pete, 2 tackles, a fumble recovery. Top 3, Demario Davis. Of course he's back after we threw dirt on him. 30.45 points, 8 tackles, a TFL, a sack and a half, a PD, 3 QB hits. Jordan Howden, safety, 25.7, 10 tackles, a sack, a forced fumble, and a PD. And then Alante Taylor, one of Addy's favorites, 18.6 tackles, a forced fumble, and 2 PDs. Panthers, Saints. Addy, what tickles your fancy from this one?
Demario Davis, I had to look up how many career sacks he has. 40.
Wow.
Isn't that nuts?
That's pretty good.
I mean, that's super impressive, man. So this is, let's see.
What is this? Is this like his 7th or 8th season?
I think he has 5.5 this season.
So yeah, that probably tracks. If he's played,
He's been around since 2012.
2012. Oh wow, so longer than I thought. That's 11 seasons.
Yeah.
So about 3.5 to 4 per season then.
Yeah, pretty much.
So he's over his average.
Yeah, 5.5 this year, 6.5 last year.
Good for you, Demario Davis.
3 in 2021, 4 in 2020, 4 in 2019, 5 in 2018, 5 in 2017. That's pretty impressive.
That's really good. What are we doing with Pete Warner in Dynasty? Is he just
He is just free falling, dude.
plummeting down the rankings?
He is Tom Petty, baby.
He's free falling.
Sure.
Nothing.
Go ahead and hit that
I'll
drop.
hit that Tom Petty drop. Yeah, real quick. Let me get on that.
Let's get sued.
Yeah, dig it this one. There you go. How about that one? Yeah, so Frankie Louvu continues to be very good. Derek Brown, good option. Defensive tackle required.
Jordan Howden. This was someone.
Tell me about this Howden character.
Someone that I shouted out. One of those trade episodes. I think it was the one that I did with our good friend Steve.
Yes.
But just someone that I said should be on your radar. Thought that he may get an opportunity here at the end of the year. And folks, it looks like he is getting his opportunity, and it's going to be hard for them to shy away from him.
Is he
10
taking
tackles, a sack, and a forced fumble this week? 25.7 points.
Is he taking the place of Honey Badger or Marcus May?
Marcus May.
Okay.
Although, let's see. I don't think Marcus May played this week. So Marcus May, I think, is maybe banged up, or he's maybe just getting replaced at this point.
Yeah, it's because since I cut Addy off there, 10 tackles, a sack, a forced fumble, a PD, 25 points.
Marcus May is on IR, so that makes sense.
There we go. So for the fantasy playoffs then.
Yeah, Jordan Howden, probably worth an ad.
Absolutely.
Looks like he could be a playmaking type for us. This, I feel like he was a later pick for the Saints, like a 4th to 5th rounder.
Yeah, so he went to injured reserve just 4 days ago. So he will be out at least the next 4 games, I think it is, for injured reserve. It was 6, now it's 4. So that's the fantasy playoffs, folks. So there you go. You don't have to worry about Howden losing his job to Marcus May.
Yeah, Howden's been in the ranks for a while now. I'd say that there's not a lot of dynasty ranks out there with Jordan Howden in it. So make sure you're subscribed over to the IDPshow.com.
IDPshow.com. Year-round access to Adam's dynasty rankings, which are updated constantly.
Constantly in there.
You don't have to worry about missing out. And we've got some really cool stuff in the works to make the data even more accessible and helpful in the off season. So just always working. A lot of cool stuff happening behind the scenes at the IDP show right now.
Yeah. Best ball ranks are coming.
Yep.
Y'all know those are the best on the planet.
That's right. We'll have, like we said, for the D-Gens who love to play playoff fantasy, Addy will be doing his ranks again. We'll talk about it on the podcast. So we got you covered. No matter what your cup of tea, we're going to take care of you.
That's right. If you need rankings, you come over here to us.
You need rankings or spankings. You know where to find them, this guy right here.
That's right.
Let's move to the next game. And look, this was just one of those games where the Colts, speaking of spankings, got their pants pulled down on the playground, falling 34-14 to the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm not even mad. This was just a game where the Bengals were by far the better team, and they bullied us all game. Colts headline, Grover Stewart returned, and the Colts edge rushers turned back into pumpkins this week. This is what I've been telling y'all. Don't get too excited about this group. EJ Speed missed the game with injury, and we saw former Jags DB Ronnie Harrison in that replacement role get lucky with a pick 6. Quiddipe, DL, speaking of the defensive linemen, the edge rushers, 7 points, just 2 tackles, a TFL, a QB hit. Samson Ebukam, 2 points, 2 tackles. Dio Odangbo, 2 points, QB hit. Top 3 for the Colts was Ronnie Harrison, safety / linebacker, 24.1 points, 4 tackles, a pick, a defensive touchdown, a PD. Zaire Franklin, 16.5 points, 14 tackles. Good golly, Miss Molly. 1 TFL. If he averages 14 tackles a game for the next 4 games, Zaire Franklin will close the season with 200 tackles. So there you go. And then Darrell Baker, cornerback, 12.25, 7 tackles and a PD. Bengals side of things, Chidobe Awuzie has been a strong direct replacement. Oh, that's hard to say. Direct replacement for Cam Taylor-Britt. And Trey Hendrickson now has 13.5 sacks on the season, only having failed to record at least half a sack in just 2 weeks this season. Trey Hendrickson, talk about giving a guy some flowers. 27.9 this game, 2 tackles, 2 TFLs, 2 sacks, a PD, 2 QB hits. Jermaine Pratt, one of Addy's favorites, 17 points, 10 tackles, a TFL, half a sack. And then Awuzie, 16.75, 5 tackles, a TFL, 2 PDs. Addy, talk to me.
Shout out to our boy Macri. Had to look up the snaps for the linebackers on the Colts. Zaire Franklin, 100%.
Of course.
Ronnie Harrison, 97%.
Sorry, Alubi. You gone.
Damn.
Yeah, that's crazy. Last I heard, Ronnie Harrison was a safety.
Oh, yeah.
When did he switch to linebacker?
Yeah, he's a linebacker now, apparently. So very cool all around.
But I will say our defense got cooked in this game, so I kind of wonder if that had something to do with it.
Yeah,
you have a converted safety playing linebacker.
Potentially, but this is his second pick in the last 3 games, so that's pretty good.
Linebacker. What is going on?
Yeah,
it's a Luby 1 week, and then, oh no, it's converted safety, Ronnie Harrison. Oh, Shaq's gone. Now it's EJ Speed. Now Speed's out. I mean, thank God for Zaire Franklin.
Is EJ Speed, is his injury long-term or anything?
No,
I
think he'll be back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So surely he slides right back into his usual role.
I think so. I don't think they kicked Shaq Leonard out the door for Ronnie Harrison.
But yeah, Ronnie Harrison.
So
welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back, buddy. Let's see how long your stay is, but enjoy the time while you're here. Let's talk about Trey Hendrickson, though. Let's give the guy some love. 27.9 points, 13.5 sacks on the year, 81.6 overall PFF grade. Anytime I watch the Bengals, this is a guy that just pops off the screen. And it's not flashy, it's not sexy. He's just got that blue-collar, gritty lunch pail mentality, Eddie.
Yes, sir. Them long sleeves, them bare hands.
He does work with his hands.
That's right. You know he's got them Bama bangs. Just a real nice white boy.
He's one you want to bring home to mom.
Yes, sir. One thing about Trey Hendrickson that if we can get serious for a second.
We cannot.
The snaps. The snaps have been up there this year as far as the snap percentages. Previously we talked about in previous years we talked about how Trey Hendrickson was one of these guys that was really only just playing like 50% of the snaps, not being able to be out there really and run defense at all. Well, he has definitely changed some aspects of his game and the way that the Bengals can use him because this dude's playing pretty much like I'd say 80% of the snaps this season.
Wow,
that's
a big jump.
He's got to be in that 70 to 80% range, which that's got to below his previous career, high.
I'd say you're right.
Tough getting all that stuff out there.
You did good though. I was proud of you.
I think you guys got tighten it up to make me sound
absolutely
sick.
Will not do that. You know that. Let's see. Yeah, so he is playing 70.96% of snaps. But he could have been playing more here towards the back half of the season. Let's look at the game by game for old Trey.
83 last week, 83%, 69% week 12, 68 week 11, 75% week 10, 84% in week 9. The lowest he's had this year was 59% week 1.
Week 1.
And then 61%. But
since then he's been above 61% every single game.
Yeah, really healthy.
Nice. So good job by Trey Hendrickson evolving his game a little bit. Let's talk about the next contest here, though, Addy, and talk about the Rams taking the Ravens to the wire, falling in overtime on a walk-off punt return touchdown, 37-31. Baltimore gets the victory. Headline for the Rams. Bobo said it last week. Ernest Jones just needs to get healthy, and the down games will be a thing of the past. It was a quiet game for Aaron Donald, leaving him only 4 games to get 4 sacks or miss out on that 10-sack season mark. Aaron Donald, 4 points, 1 PD. Top 3 for the Rams. Ernest Jones, 22 points, 10 tackles, a sack, a PD, a QB hit. They're at the big plays. Akello Witherspoon, cornerback, 16.7, 4 tackles, a pick, and a PD. And then Byron Young, 13.1, 2 tackles, a TFL, a sack, and a QB hit. On the Ravens side, sneak preview to the end of the season. It may be a homer pick. This is Aaron talking. But Justin Matabukake is the front runner for my IDP MVP. K-Ham suffered a knee injury of uncertain severity, so watch out for the update there. 10.25 for K-Ham before going out, 7 tackles and a TFL. Matabukake, Justin Matabike, 26.55 points, 7 tackles, a TFL, a sack, 5 QB hits. Oh, he was making Matt Stafford's life hell. And then Roquan Smith, 18 points, 10 tackles, 2 TFLs, and a QB hit. Kyle Van Noy, 14.5, 4 tackles, 2 TFLs, and a PD. Addy, Matabukake continues to be a must start, especially in defensive tackle required leagues.
Yes, dude. He has been so good this year. And probably pretty out of nowhere for most people. I don't think a lot of people really thought that this guy was going to be having 11 sacks.
I'll look up the ADP, but
oh, dude, I don't know that he was.
I don't even know if he was getting drafted.
He was getting drafted, I think, but it was by a select few.
Yes.
It was only the most sophisticated.
I don't think I had any Matabukake shares.
I don't think I did either.
Yeah, let's look up the ADP because I don't know how much.
Kyle Van Noy, man, he's been awesome this year.
Talk about another guy that you gave some love to who's shown up in a big spot.
That was someone that we mentioned on IDP Bets almost immediately once he landed there in Baltimore. Was really like under the radar. No one was talking about that. But yeah, I picked him up in basically every single sleeper league. He has dual designation. He's still out there in a lot of leagues. Like I found him in a MFL league the other day. I was like,
there you go.
I'll take him.
What are you doing here, Kyle?
Yeah.
Come on in out of the cold, buddy. Justin Matabike was DL 123. So there you go.
Wow.
123.
So that's going to definitely be one of your better value picks of the season.
Yeah,
you know?
ADP of 264.
Wow.
So there you go, folks. That is IDP. That's the recipe for an IDP MVP right there. And I love that we're going to show some love to the defensive tackles. That's what the IDP MVP episode's all about.
I think the big news, though, and this one is Kyle Hamilton
injury.
And because it was a knee.
Yeah, I haven't seen any updates on that. Have you?
No.
Ernest Jones, back to full health, it seems. 10 tackles, a sack, and a PD to go with the
awesome.
QB hit.
He's an awesome man. When you look at the log, I mean, what if there's been any concern, probably shouldn't be much. I mean, he's been so good this season.
Everything we wanted Ernest Jones to do.
Yeah.
I don't think the Rams miss Bobby Wagner at all. I really don't. I think he has stepped right into those shoes and played up to his full potential.
It's his 7th double-digit tackle game this season. 2.5 sacks. I mean, what more can you want?
Yeah, and he even gave you the big play this week.
Yep.
I was seeing if there was any update on Kyle Hamilton.
Your boy Byron Young, the guy you love more than any player in the league.
It's true.
Got himself a sack this week.
Let's see. Left today's game with a knee injury, is scheduled to undergo an MRI on Monday to determine the extent of the injury. So we'll just have to, I just saw, look at the play.
Scared.
Yep. That does not look good, folks. K-Ham may be out for a while.
Byron Young, 6 sacks on the season. Really nice pick for the Rams. They know what they're doing with those mid to late round picks, man.
Him and Kobe Turner looking really good.
Really nice.
I mean, who's the rookie sack leader? Is it Byron Young?
He's got to be up there.
I mean, because what does Anderson have?
I don't know if I have the PFF login deets on this one.
Yeah, so it's been a great rookie class though for the Rams. I mean, that's the reason that they're even, in the mix for a potential playoff spot as a spider slowly descends from the rafters. Addy, look out! Kill it with fire.
It probably is him. I think 6 sacks.
6 sacks.
I mean, that's more than
think
Will
of
Anderson.
all the other guys, right? I mean, Will McDonald, Tyree Wilson, Will Anderson. I mean, a lot of these guys. Oh God, it's on the table.
I got down there quick.
So if you're watching the YouTubes and you saw the spider descending, you can also see, Eddie, we have a new jersey on the way.
Yes, sir.
A little Merry Christmas present to my boys. We got,
Don't tell them.
I won't ruin it. You'll just have to tune in. It'll be in this week, so you should be able to see it on next week's recap.
Also, guys, should we get some LED lights in here? What do you think?
Yeah, they want to get LED lights. They want to get Christmas lights. They want to get Christmas trees. So sound off in the comments if you like Christmas spirit on your IDP podcasts.
I know the youngins will want the LED
The
lights.
youngins always want the LEDs.
They love them LED lights.
Let's move to the next game. Jaguars fall to the Browns, and Joe Flacco suddenly looking elite once again in 2023. What the hell's going on?
Is he elite?
No. But
Yes.
yes, also he is. 31-27 victory for the Jags. Jags headline, you might not have noticed, but Foye Oluokun has been averaging just 12.91 points per game since its 33-point game in Week 10. He's definitely cooled off after putting up over 18 points 6 times in the first 10 weeks.
Bunch of babies.
10.75 points, 19.01 average the last 5 games, 7 tackles, a TFL. Top 3 for the Jags, Darius Williams, 21.6, 2 tackles, a pick, 3 PDs. Antonio Johnson, safety, that's the rookie, 17.4, 2 tackles, a sack, a forced fumble, a PD, a QB hit. Devon Lloyd, Jace called him out on the rankings episode, and he showed up in a big spot, 14.55 points, 11 tackles, a fumble recovery. On the Brown side of things, Garrett had a sackless game for the 3rd week in a row after accumulating 7.5 in the 5 games previous. If you started a Brown not named Garrett, you were probably happy after 9 players scored in the double digits. Myles Garrett still got to 18.5, 8 tackles, 2 TFLs, a PD, top 3 for the Browns. Martin Emerson, 30.1 points. Emerson Biggins, you called it. He's leaning into that big name, that big nickname there. 4 tackles, 2 picks, 3 PDs. Greg Newsome, cornerback, 28.25, 5 tackles, a pick, 4 PDs, and then Maurice Hurst, 18.8, 4 tackles, 2 TFLs, a sack, a QB hit. What do you want to talk about from Jags Browns, Addy?
It looks like Zadarius Smith just missed that cutoff.
Did he?
He got himself a sack this week.
All right,
15.3 points. Yes. Gosh, he has been struggling as of late, but pressure rate still strong. Again, I still think he gets Chicago next week. He gets Houston week 16. He gets the Jets in week 17. That's pretty nice.
Don't give up the ghost yet, but maybe give up the ghost.
That's pretty nice, though.
You can't ask for a better matchup.
That is a great schedule.
If he doesn't deliver in those games, you have to throw dirt on his corpse. That's the deal.
Okay, that's fine.
We will bury him and give him a Viking funeral.
I can do that
on the podcast.
3.5 sacks to this point this season. I think he doubles that before we finish.
Oh, you think so?
I think we're going to see 7.
7 sacks.
He's going to see
the season.
At least, yeah. So we're going to see 3.5 over the next 4 weeks.
Okay,
that's the call.
All right, that's a bold choice, Cotton. We'll see how it plays out. Anything notable from the Jag side of things? Devon Lloyd has quietly been a nice little LB2 option for you.
He's been really good. Before we get back over to that, Grant Delpit got himself a little extension, 3 years, $36 million, and then he exited this game with a groin injury.
He was like, I got paid. I'm out of here.
Right.
I'm out of here,
dog. Tear something real quick.
Yeah, let me just pop this.
But, he had a nice week, 18.3 points, but then, exited. What was this? Who were they playing again, Josh?
The Jags?
Yes, the Jags, that team.
Yeah, Devon Lloyd. I was commenting on his...
He's been really good.
Very solid LB2 status this year.
He's been very good. 14.6 points this week, 12.25 last week, 16 week 12. Pretty much his worst 2 weeks were week 1 and week 3. And that was a 5.75 point game and an 8.75 point game. So, he's been very solid, a rock solid, back end, LB2 for you.
Yep. Yeah, 12.
Which is probably better than where you were drafting him. I think he was going in the LB 30 range, 30 to 36 range.
I'll check. But 12.85 over the last 5 is nothing to sneeze at. You're getting 15 points from him almost this week. So, Devon Lloyd has been better than I thought he was going to be this season.
Darius Williams, another really nice game. I know he was going absolutely nuts the first 8 weeks.
Yes.
And then he cooled off. But
he's back.
If you were able to draft him in some best ball leagues, he's been awesome.
Yeah. Devon Lloyd was LB 32. So he's definitely outperformed that. Even a back end LB2 would be LB 24. So I'll be curious to see where he finishes on the season, but I think he's going to outperform that ADP.
I think so. Josh Allen, no sack this week, but still finished with 12.25 points. So he had a nice game. Man, he's been so good this year.
He has.
The tackles have been there for him,
I was going nuts last week didn't they get Sunday or Monday Night Football watching him for the IDP bets that you did with Mike Wollert?
Yes.
Where you had him for 0.75, was it? Or was it 0.25?
I don't remember what it was.
No, it was 0.75 because he got a half a sack to start the game. And then I was like, oh, no. But then he got it.
I told you, I was like, he's going to get another one.
He's going to get another one.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about guys who have made themselves some money.
Yes, dude. And he looks like such a badass.
Yes, dude. He really does.
He really does.
This is peak Josh Allen.
He's someone that his you forget, these guys will develop even, they start out as freaks, but they're still even a decent amount of room to grow.
22 years old. They're college kids.
Yeah. Josh Allen, though, man, he definitely looks the part. And he's producing, which has always been the knock with Josh Allen.
We need to do a contract year episode next offseason.
Oh, it's a very real thing.
It's a very real thing. I'm telling you. It's we can't discount the human factor here. Of course, some nerd out there is but what about all of these players who are in contract years and not performing? It's just go with the narrative, bro. Chill out.
Come on, bro.
Next game, Lions fall to the Bears 28-13. Very surprising loss for the Lions here as well. Lions headline, Aiden Hutchinson averages 18.2 points per game versus Justin Fields and just 12.74 in all other games this year. Alex Anzalone returned from injury this week, but it was Jalen Reeves-Maybin who was the top scorer for the linebackers. You can ignore that. 9.25 for Anzalone, 9 tackles, top 3 for the Lions. John Kaminsky, 19.45. He heard us talking that ish about who's the other edge rusher opposite Aiden Hutchinson. He said, look, it's me. 7 tackles, a TFL,
Bruce
a sack.
Irvin.
Yeah.
He just got here.
Yeah, what are you talking about? I've been here. I have the most Detroit name you've ever heard, John Kaminsky.
He is huge, dude.
Yeah, of course he is. His name's John Kaminsky. Can you imagine being tiny and having that name? A sack, 2 QB hits, Aiden Hutchinson, 18.9, 2 tackles, a TFL, a sack, a PD, 2 QB hits, and Jalen Reeves-Maben, 16.55, a tackle, a TFL, a sack, a PD, and a QB hit. Bears headline, don't look now, but good health and a Montez Sweat trade has meant we have quality IDP assets to use from the Bears that aren't just their linebackers. What? Jaquan Brisker, number 1, 31.25 points from Jaquan Brisker, 17 tackles, a forced fumble, and 2 PDs. Go off, Mr. Brisket. Montez Sweat, 23.1, 5 tackles, a sack, a PD, and 4 QB hits. And then Tremaine Edmonds, 20.85 points, 7 tackles, a TFL, an INT, a PD. The Bears were feasted in this game, Addy.
Yeah, wow. All the stars showing out. It's a shame Bob's not here to peacock this Brisker game. Wow, 17 tackles.
And Montez. He had Montez, I think, on the sack total, right?
Yeah, I think
As one of his flag plans.
I think so.
One of the sweaty bros.
I mean, 17 tackles, I feel like that's probably the highest tackle game for a safety this season. I think Winfield had like 16 like a week or so ago.
17's a lot of tackles.
That is a lot of tackles for a safety.
Montez Sweat, though, 12.56 the last 5 games, 23.1.
Detroit, I mean, not Detroit, but
Detroit?
these teams going in opposite directions. Chicago looking pretty strong as of late.
That division is kind of interesting because you've got the early favorites, the Vikings and the Lions, kind of free falling a little bit right now, and Lions aren't free falling, but they're
struggling.
They're hitting a little bit of a lull here. And the Packers and Bears are heating up a little bit.
Yep.
So it could be an interesting finish to the season. I think the Bears are too far behind to probably have a shot at the playoffs, but
they're kind of messing themselves up with the pick, right?
I know. They're a berserker right now.
But they have Carolina's pick, though.
They're good. They got the number 1
So
pick
they got
locked
the number 1
up.
pick.
They're just like, screw it, baby.
So who cares? Yeah.
Yeah. Now the question is, if you finish the season strong, maybe you go on a little win streak here, that makes the Justin Fields conversation a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
But I still think you take...
Well, I mean, yeah, I think, but you should be able to move him easier and at least get some decent assets for him.
You take the rookie, you take the Caleb Williams, the Drake May, whoever you like. You reset the contract clock.
What do you think they trade Fields for? Do they get a second for him?
Yeah, I think they can get a second pretty easy, especially if he finishes the year strong. I could see, there's got to be a team.
I saw there was a few teams that were in on him. I saw Atlanta for sure.
Atlanta would make a lot of sense.
They liked him in the draft, I think.
But there's a lot of teams that have, the future secured at quarterback.
Maybe Commanders were in the mix.
Commanders, Patriots. I mean, you would hate that, but they need to do something there. But a lot of these teams have their quarterback situation figured out. So, and there are some, but it's going to be interesting. Cardinals and Bears could both be in the mix to draft new quarterbacks with established starters on the roster.
Yep.
So, the Bears showed up, and it's fun. I love when the top 3 is filled with guys we'd recognize. That does not happen that often. And it was good to see Aiden Hutchinson get back in the sack column. So, welcome back to that column, Mr. Hutch.
Tremaine Edmonds been really good this year, too.
He has. Yep, he really has. I was going to say TJ. Yeah, Tremaine was the one, 14.1 the last 5 games. Him and TJ Edwards both have been
they've been great.
Really solid. So
really healthy logs.
Yes, not good moves, cap-wise for real NFL purposes, but for IDP, let's go, baby. Next game here, the Drew Lock-led Seattle Seahawks fall to the 49ers 28-16.
First thought when I saw that today, that Drew Lock was going to be starting. Let's go put some money on Nick Bosa's sacks.
Seriously, right?
Yeah, definitely, and I did.
And you were a very happy man.
Did fine.
Did just fine. So Seahawks headline, Julian Love has inherited the Kirk Herbstreit, a.k.a. the Herp Locker nickname from Logan Ryan, as he flared up once again this week. But you never know when he will be dormant or not. Meanwhile, Jamal Adams was about as impactful in your lineup as he was on Twitter. #Prez went for 6.5 points after his latest embarrassing debacle online. 4 tackles and a QB hit. The community notes bodying Jamal Adams in a big spot, saying that he did, in fact, stand 10 toes down on his take was probably my favorite Twitter moment this season. Look it up if you haven't, folks. Bad week for Prez. Top 3 for the Seahawks, Leonard Williams, defensive tackle, 24.6 points. It's about time he made an impact because he's only been averaging about 8.7 the last 5 games. 4 tackles, a TFL, a sack, a PD, and 4 QB hits. Julian Love, 21.7 points, 6 tackles, a pick, a forced fumble, a PD. He was all over the field. And then Jaron Reed, 14.3 points, 4 tackles, a TFL, a sack, and a QB hit. 49ers side again. Nick Bosa was dominant. Chase Young was irrelevant. And Jair Brown had his first strong game since the Hufanga injury versus the Bucs. Also disappointing, Dre Greenlaw, 3 straight dud games, and he's been volatile as hell all season. 4 games above 15, 6 games under 9. So very up and down for Dre Greenlaw. Chase Young, just 4 points, 1 PD. Jair Brown, 17 points, 6 tackles, a pick, and a PD. Dre Greenlaw, 5.3, 4 tackles. Top 3 for the 49ers, Nick Bosa, number 1, 25.35, 6 tackles, a TFL, a sack and a half. There you go, Addy. 1 PD, 2 QB hits. Fred Warner, 18 points. Awesome as always. 8 tackles, a pick, a PD. And then Clelin Ferrell, 17.5, 4 tackles, 2 TFLs, a sack, and a QB hit. Fun fact, with Bosa, Ferrell, and Young, the 49ers have the 2019 number 2 overall pick, the 2019 number 4 overall pick, and the 2020 number 2 overall pick, not to mention Javon Kinlaw, who was number 14 in 2020, Armstead, who was number 17 in 2015, and Taco Charlton, number 28 in 2017. So they have a plethora of first-round picks along this defensive line. Pretty much all first-round picks along the defensive line at this point, Addy.
Yeah, seems like a pretty good move.
I know. This team is pretty good, so maybe that's just a good way to build your team.
Fred Warner, nice to see him have a bounce back from his 2 kind of meh performances. 8 tackles and an interception. He also looks like he angered DK Metcalf in this game.
He angered him.
Yeah. Did you see that? DK Metcalf grabbed his face mask and kind of slung him around.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I knew that DK did
it.
something, but I missed the replay. Again, I didn't have Sunday tickets. So I was having to catch stuff on the let's throw it to New York and James Brown for the update.
He was frustrated, but
yeah. That's understandable.
Can't blame him.
You're catching passes from
Drew Lock. That's tough.
The best thing he ever did was wrap young Jeezy on the sideline.
Yeah. Yeah, poor DK Metcalf, man. I would love to get him in a better situation quarterback-wise.
Are we feeling any differently about the Russell Wilson trade now that Russ has looked okay this year? And Gino's kind of, he's been fine, but he's been banged up. I still think it was the right move.
Yeah.
But Russ has definitely rebounded.
He's been fine.
Yeah.
He's been he was horrible at the start, but he's still not anything that you're like, oh, baby.
Here we go.
That's right. Let's build around. Let's get some pieces in here.
Yeah, I think Sean Payton's still going to get out of this contract the minute he can.
Which won't be next offseason.
I think they could eat it if they wanted to. I don't think they will, but they could.
Yeah.
They could have done it this offseason if they really wanted to.
I don't know, though, man. Stuff changes so quickly. I mean, you never know. You never know. That defense, I mean, they have kind of a fun defense. They have some fun young pieces.
We'll talk about it here in a little bit. It was a fun game. It was a very fun game against the, Chargers? Right?
Yeah. I mean, they're hot right now.
They are hot. The Chargers, man, that...
they're not hot.
They're not hot. They are the opposite of hot, especially if it's Easton Stick the rest of the way, which it probably is because Justin Herbert broke his right index finger, which is not good. You need that to throw a football.
Didn't he already have
Yeah, he had another injury because he had his hand taped up. I don't know if it was his ring or his middle finger, but that hand is just getting decimated.
Was it the other hand, though?
No, well, was it his left? It may have been his left hand. So now he's got one to match on his right hand. So
2 cast.
What about Chase Young? Arn has here in the doc. Are we praying he moves on in the offseason? No 5th-year option, so the 49ers do owe him a new deal. Do you want to see him stick around in San Francisco or go somewhere else?
I mean, yeah, I'd be fine with him going somewhere else. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's really working out there from a production standpoint. But, I mean, pressure-wise, I think he's still fine. I mean, I think all that stuff's good. So, I mean, that team's winning and the defense is really, really good and dominating games. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends. I think he'd be okay, and it just takes a little bit of time. We've talked about this a lot when guys get into new situations. I mean, these are humans. I mean, it takes a while to
You got to learn the playbook.
to gel with people and to learn how people play, and and I imagine it's probably pretty complex what they do there in San Fran. So I mean, it may just take him a little bit to get comfortable and to learn everything, and that's just how that stuff goes.
I think they gave up a third for him. I think
so didn't give up a ton for him.
I think he'll be somewhere else. That's my prediction.
Probably so, because he's gonna get a bag.
He's gonna get a bag on the open market. Yeah, they're like, oh, this is the second overall pick.
Yes.
He's just been banged up. The underlying metrics are nice. Like, look at this guy. He's a specimen.
And I mean, he was really productive in Washington.
He was having a great season.
Yeah,
him and Montez Sweat both.
So I don't think anyone's gonna really knock him for that.
Yeah, it's like Montez and Chase Young both had a little bit of a swoon after the trade. Montez is coming on because there's literally nobody there in Chicago, so his path to snaps is very clear. I'm holding on to Chase Young. I'm holding out hope that 2024 can be better.
Yeah, I mean, he's like 24, 25 still.
And he's played well. He played well this year. We've seen it. This is not just purely projection. So let's move on to your Vikings, though, Addy. Vikings 3, Raiders 0. Yep, seriously, that was the final score. What a game this was. Vikings headline, though. Ivan Pace, welcome to the spotlight. A rare down game for Danielle Hunter, only his second without a sack. We remember the 49-point game, but Harrison Smith has only scored over 8 points once since week 5 this year, and in double digits 3 times all season. Danielle Hunter, 4 points, 2 tackles, a QB hit. Harrison Smith, 2 points, 2 tackles. But Ivan Pace, Addy, yum, 33.95 points, 13 tackles, a TFL, a pick, a sack, a PD, a QB hit. DJ Wanham, 16.25, 5 tackles, a TFL, a sack, a QB hit. Harrison Phillips, 14.8, 4 tackles, a TFL, a sack, a QB hit. Let's pause there and just talk about Ivan Pace Jr.
Yes. I remember this offseason, we had tons of Ivan Pace Jr. conversations. I feel like we talked about him maybe around the Combine episode. But the reason why we were really excited about Ivan Pace Jr. is just the way that he produced in college. And we were,
I remember the mega producer
right.
phrase getting thrown around with Ivan Pace Jr.
That's what we were excited about. We were hopeful that if he ever did get his opportunity, he looks like one of these guys that really stuffs the stat sheet. And lo and behold,
he's stuffing the stat sheet.
He's stuffing it, folks.
Yeah, 100% of snaps this week.
That's 3 weeks in a row he's played 100% of the snaps. I mean, 13.75 points in week 11, 20.75 points in week 12. They had the bye in week 13, 34 points in week 14. Guy's absolutely on fire. Looks like he has 31 tackles over his last 3 games. 31 tackles and 2 sacks and an interception over his last 3 games.
And a fantastic celebration. It looks like he draws the door, he picks the lock, he opens the door, and then waves at the camera. Almost like, I'm here, folks. You tried to keep me out by not drafting me, but I'm here now. Yeah. So, very fun.
And, I mean, we've maybe talked in the past about, he's undrafted, he's not going to stick around. There are some decent undrafted linebackers out there.
It's hard. It's a tough road to hoe, but you can do it.
TJ Edwards, Azeez Al-Shaair. I mean, these guys are very relevant, and I think they're going to continue to be relevant.
You have to be
NFL.
really good.
Ivan Pace is really good, I think.
Ivan Pace is really good.
He was
get this opportunity as a UDFA in his rookie year.
Yep.
That speaks to how good this guy is.
But he's undersized, and he has short arms. Who cares?
These little short arms can catch a touchdown or an interception. Don't worry about that. Raiders, it must be December because Addy got another Tyree Wilson sack and a top 3 score appearance in his stocking. Merry Christmas, Addy.
Thank you.
Maxx Crosby joins Myles Garrett at the top of the mountain as the best of the best, and that's on one leg. 40 points for Maxx Crosby, 20.22 points per game average the last 5 games, 10 tackles, 3 TFLs, 2 sacks, 4 QB hits for Maxx Crosby. Big Bob Spillane was on the podium as well, 25 points. He's been averaging 17.2 points per game the last 5 games. let this be a reminder, folks, that sometimes linebackers who are underwhelming can get opportunities in new situations with new teams and really flourish like Big Bob Spillane has done this year. Bobby Okereke, another example. Azeez Al-Shaair, another example.
Remember, folks, pay attention to these free agents.
We're going to talk about it on the episode with Tripp and Sig, but
when teams go out and get these guys, they usually have plans for them.
Yes.
Every single one of them have basically hit.
Half of the relevant linebackers for IDP, like the big name guys that even the casuals would recognize, about to turn over. A lot of free agents pending. A lot of big names. Now, could those guys get re-signed? Of course. But just know that there is a seismic shift coming with a lot of big names for IDP about to hit free agency. So, Big Bob Spillane, though, 10 tackles, 2 TFLs, a sack, a QB hit. And then Tyree Wilson, 4 tackles, a TFL, a sack, and a QB hit. Good for 15.3 points. Tyree Wilson is showing some signs of life, Addy, and that is very encouraging for the number 7 overall pick.
Yep. That's all we needed to see.
Yep.
Just little flashes.
Like Will McDonald.
Yep.
Just give us a little flash here and there. Some signs of life, Tyree Wilson. That's all we're asking for.
We knew he was super raw. We knew that this was going to be probably a year that we didn't really see much of him. And we're seeing more of him because of the Chandler Jones stuff. But yes, I mean, second half of the season, he is definitely heating up. I mean, you look at through the first 6 weeks, the dude had 0 sacks. Through the next 7 weeks, he's got 2.5. So not huge by any means, but
Improvement.
And I mean, something to work with. I mean, this guy, 6'6", 275, insane length, insane arm length. Just let him,
Let him cook.
Let him, have some time to develop. He's in a great situation there with Maxx Crosby. I mean, you can't ask for a better guy to learn from. So let's just be patient. And haven't really, wavered on Tyree Wilson at all.
And what if the coaching upgrade there is someone like a Dan Quinn from Dallas? What if you get a brilliant defensive mind in there?
Yeah, exactly.
Who knows exactly how to unlock Tyree Wilson because he just had DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons in Dallas. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I love that. It's very nice.
If I was the Raiders, that's the kind of coach I'd be looking for.
Yeah.
Because that's where you have assets.
But Tyree Wilson was one of those guys that you should have gone out and tried to acquire just because he started off slow, dealt with the injury stuff. Everyone was down on him. We heard the B word, get mentioned quite a bit.
Tiggo Biddies?
Yes, sir. Emerson Biggins. But old Steve.
I know.
Old Steve.
Old Steve's going to be eating his words.
Look at you, Steve.
Bad look for old Steve. We'll see. I mean, he's still got a long way to go.
He does.
But he's a great buy right now because what do you got to pay for Tyree Wilson?
You gotta hope that he stays healthy because the fact that he was injured year 1, I mean that's
worrisome.
That's a little worrisome.
I will always roll the dice though on premium edge rushers.
Yes, of course.
Edge rushers drafted highly, more than happy to throw a 3rd or 4th round pick after these guys, especially if they have a disappointing rookie season. Which, newsflash, most edge rushers have disappointing rookie seasons because it takes these guys 2, 3, even 4 years to develop.
Yes.
Be patient.
Yeah, and you can't just I know everyone gets excited about pressure rate and stuff, and that's something that we definitely look at for, evaluating edge rushers and defensive linemen. But these rookies are not going to put up usually prolific pressure rates. It just doesn't happen.
And if they do, that's something to pay attention to.
Like Will Anderson, I think he's got around a 12% this year, which is really, really good. I mean, that seems like that's not great, but I mean, you look back at like Jalen Phillips, I think he had like an 8-9% pressure rate, Maxx Crosby didn't have anything special when he was a rookie. Like all these guys, it takes a little bit of time.
Yep.
We preach that all the time. But
just be patient with these guys. Take them in your rookie drafts, stash them on your taxi squad, throw them on IR if you need to.
Right. Like whenever I draft one of these guys, like I'm not expecting production until unless it's Will Anderson, someone like that,
yes.
that a team spent top 3 capital on.
Hutchinson, another example, right?
You're expecting to plug those guys in immediately.
Myles
but
Garrett.
Tyree Wilson, everyone knew the deal.
It's going to take time.
Will Anderson was the only guy that seemed like a sure thing. Literally every other edge rusher in last year's class we all knew that it was going to be probably like their third year before we saw any type of, significant, consistent production.
Yep. Agreed. So this is a good time to go buy those guys because the production is coming. If you want to wait till even after next season, that's fine, but you're going to get the nice discount on these guys right now because everyone's fed up. They're like, well, that dude didn't do anything for me this year.
Yeah.
Well, you shouldn't have expected that.
Better get out now.
Get out while you can. Bills knock off the Chiefs 20-17. We had Tay Swift in the building. We had Patrick Mahomes crying after the game about the refs. They weren't fair. They didn't give us a warning, even though Kadarius Toney's dumbass was lined up offsides. I mean, someone tweeted, you could have left out the names and described that exact situation, and most people would have guessed it was Kadarius Toney. That's just what he does. He has a brilliant play with Travis Kelce on the throwback. Oh, but he was offsides, so it's negated. And it's like, stop crying, Patrick. Like, he was clearly offsides. He didn't look to the sideline to see if he was offsides to get corrected by the referees. So it's just Kadarius Toney, man. That's the bed that you're in with this freaking idiot at wide receiver.
You need better receivers there, dude.
Blame your GM and blame your head coach for not getting you more help. Don't blame
Tyreek.
Yes.
We still had Tyreek.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Be pretty cool.
So Bills headline, AJ Epinesa had the base for a strong game before he had to leave with a rib injury. An extended absence could, however, help clear up the rotation a little. It was a down game for Terrell Bernard, but don't read too much into it. AJ Epinesa did have a pick and a PD, 10.6 points, but exited with injury. Terrell Bernard, 8 points, 8 tackles. Top 3 for the Bills. Teron Johnson, 16.75, 9 tackles, fumble recovery, PD. Gregory Rousseau, 12.35, 2 tackles, half a sack, 1 PD, 2 QB hits, and Tyrell Dotson, 12 points, 8 tackles at TFL. Over on the Chiefs side of things, Nick Bolton looked good in his much-awaited return. Furious George could have had a monster night, but had a late second sack wiped out by an incidental contact penalty. Chris Jones started the season hot, but outside of Week 11, hasn't had a sack since Week 6. Nick Bolton, 15.5 points, 8 tackles, a TFL, and a PD. Chris Jones, 6 points, 3 QB hits. So if you don't score QB hits, he put up a big old goose egg for you. Top 3 for the Chiefs, Trent McDuffie, 20.8, 6 tackles, a TFL, a sack, a PD, and a QB hit. L'Jarius Sneed. So the cornerbacks were going off in this game, understandably so. I think Johnny called them both out in his Cornerback Corner podcast this last week. But L'Jarius Sneed, 19.75, 7 tackles, 3 PDs. And then Furious George Karlaftis, who's been very solid this season. 3 tackles, a TFL, a sack, and 2 QB hits. This was a fun game, Addy, that came down to a crazy play at the end. What's your takeaways for IDP?
Yeah, Furious George been really good this season. 9 sacks on the year, on pace for 12, 15% pressure rate. Just really, really good, averaging 11.4 points per game this season. Love to see it. Love to see it in that second year. I mean, it's him and Chris Jones. I mean, that's really it on that defensive line that we can rely on. But, yeah, I mean, very encouraging signs from Karlaftis from year 1 to year 2. So I think you got to feel good about him in Dynasty. The
redraft rankings are kind of a horror show to go back and look at, but that was one player I was very high on going into this season. I think I had him as a top 20 edge for the 2023 season, but it was just because of what we saw in year 1. Over 70% of snaps in his rookie season. And
76% this year.
Yeah, look at who the competition is. It's nobody.
Yep.
Because talk about first round edge rushers that need some seasoning and some development. FAU has been a big old bust.
If I didn't like him, I'll call him a bust.
That's right. Now you get to throw the B word around if you don't like a player. I see how you're doing this.
That's right.
On the Bills side of things, though, Addy, I think Tyrell Dotson continues to be a decent, LB3 option. That's where I've got him. Gregory Rousseau got himself a half a sack. He's been averaging 10.82 the last 5 games. Teron Johnson, one of your favorite NFL playoff DB stashes. And then Terrell Bernard, I'm not too worried about Bernard. He's averaging about 14 points the last 5 games, 8 tackles in this one. So if you're in a tackle-heavy league, he could have had a much better night for you.
Yeah, Teron Johnson, dude, he's been really, really good this season, like every season pretty much. But yeah, 16.75 this week. He had 7 in week 12, 3.25 in week 11, but 12 the week before that, 9.25 in week 9, 16.6 in week 8. just every single week, just solid. He had a 15 tackle game this season. One of the better tackling corners that you'll find. I mean, just he plays in the slot. That's usually the recipe. But he's been really good. Rasul Douglas, he's been kind of meh since coming over from Green Bay, but he'll give you some big splash weeks every once in a while. You're right though, Tyrell Dodson, he's been a solid play for you. He's you can do worse.
About 13 points per game average the last 5 games. So not too bad.
Hated seeing AJ Epinesa leave this one early,
especially after getting a pick. That was nice.
Yeah, that was early in that one too that he left. But I'm excited about him in Dynasty. I mean, he's been really good this season. He's got a 14.6% pressure rate.
Is he a pending free agent as well?
He's a pending free agent.
That's juicy. Under the radar.
Another one of those guys that when you watch a Buffalo game, he looks good. He does. Like, he stands out. He's huge. He looks pretty fast. We know he's strong. So, I mean, I like AJ Epinesa.
Do we have
AJ Esposito? I think is what
AJ Esposito.
Remember that?
Who was that?
That's what I called him on the Joey the Tooth episode when Joey was like breaking down the edge rushers and stuff from that class.
Oh, Addy, we were just babes.
We were babies.
We were absolute babies at that point. I wanted to see if Macri had the Chiefs linebackers breakdown, because I wanted to see what Nick Bolton.
Welcome back, Nick Bolton.
Yeah, welcome back, Nick Bolton. I was looking up. Spoiler alert for the Eagles.
I think this was Nick Bolton's best game of the season.
Shaq Leonard played 15% of snaps, I think it was. 17% of snaps. Do we have the Chiefs? Let's see. We do not, but I will message Macri right now to see if we can get the Chiefs.
This was Bolton's best game of the season. 15.5 points.
Was it really?
Yeah.
How many games did he play, though, before he went out with the wrist injury?
He's played 5 now.
Okay.
So
it's past midnight in Canada. I'm not even going to bother John.
Yeah.
We'll have to see what the
He should be up. I'm sure he's up grinding some stats.
Let's see. Think he's grinding?
I'd say so.
Let's see if he's been a grind boy or if he's
You better be. I mean, Sunday, game just ended. You better be up, Macri.
It is 12:12 a.m. for John Macri.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. I'll just say Nick
You want to be great, Macri?
Nick Bolton snaps, question mark? Let's see if he responds. So let's move to the...
Sweet dreams, question mark?
Yeah, sweet dreams. We know he's having sweet dreams.
Yeah, for sure.
He lives in Canada.
Yeah.
Last game before the Sunday night.
No worries there.
Nightcap, none at all. It's the land of maple syrup and all dressed chips, folks. It's good living up there.
That's right.
Broncos get the 24-7 victory over Easton Stick, the soon-to-be-fired Brandon Staley, Los Angeles Chargers. And, the defense led the way in this one for the Broncos. Headline for Denver, performances like this almost make me want to play in Team Defense League. 6 players above 15 points, 5 above 20 points. Welcome back, Josie Jewell. PJ Locke has averaged over 22 points per game during Jackson's suspension. Hopefully you picked him up because he's been very good. Alex Singleton, though, let's go top 5. We went top 5 for Denver because why the hell not? Alex Singleton might be getting the episode title because he was very good in this game. He's averaging about 17.5 points his last 5 games.
He seems very angry. He is just drilling people out there.
He really is.
And it seems like he's like
no regard for
pushing
human
him
life.
around a little bit, yelling right in their face and
he's
stuff.
He's having to be the heart and soul of the defense now.
Hopefully everything's good with him. He seems maybe a little stressed out.
Hopefully things are okay at home.
But it's
we're
good
loving
for
it.
us
Stay
in IDP
angry.
land.
Stay angry, Alex.
Yeah, sure.
30.6 in this one, 14 tackles, a TFL, a sack, a PD, a QB hit. Josie Jewell, 27.35. 9 tackles, a TFL, a sack, a fumble recovery, a PD, a QB hit. And then Jaquan McMillian. Pay attention to that one, Addy.
Baller alert.
Baller alert?
Yes.
26 and a quarter, 14 and a quarter the last 5 games, 5 tackles, 2 TFLs, a sack, a PD, 2 QB hits. PJ Locke, 22.85. 7 tackles, a sack, a forced fumble, a PD, a QB hit. Hopefully you picked him up, folks. Justin Simmons, 20.5, 6 tackles, a sack, a forced fumble, a PD. The Chargers' offense was the gift that kept on giving to the Denver Broncos, Addy.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bad unit right now, so, I mean, there's going to be people making plays against it. Yeah, we saw that with pretty much everyone listed here. But Jaquan McMillian, dude has been a stud this season. I think he's a rookie. I don't really remember. No, this is his second season.
You're like, this is his 12th year.
Yes, he is 32 years old.
Oh, there we go.
Just kidding. He's 23. But no, since week 10, he has since week 8, he has 2 interceptions, 2 fumble recoveries, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 sacks.
Look at that. Playmaker.
That
look at
is-
the average.
That's in 6 games.
So last 5 games would be 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. So since week 10, 14.26 points per game.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure
That's impressive.
I'm pretty sure he's just playing the slot. So again, folks, that's what we're looking for.
That's what you want. But both the safeties balled out in this game, both above 20 points. Justin Simmons been a little down this year, 12.25 the last 5 games. But PJ Locke he's an auto start.
Yeah. Yeah, McMillan's playing 97% of the snaps in the sweet spot, so he's a slot corner there.
Corner. There you go.
But yeah, PJ Locke, what a call that's been. I mean, this is 3 straight games in double digits,
yes, sir.
Points wise. And
Yep.
I think he has 2 sacks and a pick, maybe.
Something like that. You could tell me whatever, and I'd be like, yes, PJ Locke. I'm here for it.
But this is a guy that it's tough to get too excited about PJ Locke because he's 26. So, I mean, this is his 4th year in the NFL.
He's just coming into his own, Addy.
But,
Don't hate.
Just a depth piece that's been waiting for his moment to shine.
If he helps you win a title, he will be immortal.
Yes.
It won't matter what he does the rest of his career. You will always look back fondly on PJ Locke.
Yeah, 3 straight games over 20 points since he became, pretty much a starter for Kareem Jackson. That's what happens when Kareem Jackson comes back. Is he there's gonna be a little bit of concern, I think, that first week that he's eligible to come back.
Absolutely.
Which is, it's a 4-game suspension. So, I mean, week 16, you're going to start PJ Locke. I guess if we get clarity, if the coach gives us clarity
he's
or
like,
something.
PJ Locke has won this job. Kareem Jackson will be the backup. But if it's like, well, we'll see how both guys, it's Johnny the Greek's approach of don't mess around in the fantasy playoffs. Don't go with any ambiguity. Start the guys that you know are going to get the snaps. Don't mess around. Don't eat a 0.
3 sacks. He's
a good player.
in 3 games.
That's why I don't think Kareem Jackson is getting that job back.
Yeah.
And if he does, like we said, he'll be back out there spearing people with his head and getting suspended again. So on the Chargers side of things, Kenneth Murray turns up with a bounce back week after averaging just 7.5 points over the last 2 weeks. Khalil Mack came back to earth a little bit after racking up 6 sacks in his last 3 games. That's absurd. Just 8 points, 2 tackles, a PD, and a QB hit for Khalil Mack. But Kenneth Murray has been very quiet, 4.3 points per game average the last 5 games, so he fell off a cliff. It's almost like he's bad. 23.2 points, 6 tackles, a pick, 2 PDs. Eric Hendricks got in on the party as well, 22.5 points, 12 tackles, a sack, 2 QB hits, and Derwin James, 16.25. Heard us talking that Antoine Winfield Jr., Dynasty Safety DB1 talk, and said, here's 11 tackles and a PD. 16.25 points, 14.21.
Wasn't enough.
The last 5.
Winfield outscored you, Derwin.
You're still looking up at the new Dynasty DB1, buddy. Sorry.
Hate to see it, bud.
Hey,
things change, bud.
Eric Hendricks is
he's been pretty good.
Nice little kind of rebound here the last few weeks.
Definitely. Since really returning from injury, he's been really good. I mean, 18 this week. He had 23 last week. That's back-to-back games with sacks. But the tackle numbers have been really healthy. Yeah, you love to see that there.
Yeah.
Alohi Gilman, he had a nice bounce back game. He's someone that's also been really, really good this season. Let's see, he has 62 tackles on the season. So
good for you.
Good stuff for Alohi Gilman.
Alohi Gilman, baby.
Khalil Mack, he had, only 8 points this week, so you can drop him.
Yeah, drop him in Adams leagues, please. That would be preferable. Let's talk about Sunday Night Football. Just wrapped up. Cowboys stomped the Eagles 33-13. Saw a very funny poster that said "Cry Eagles Cry" with Sirianni teared up with like a tie-dye background. It was very cool on the broadcast.
Nice.
So some good creativity from the Dallas fans. And in this one,
Sirianni, man, he's very unlikable.
Very punchable.
Yeah.
Perfect for Philadelphia.
Yes.
The city that once booed Santa Claus.
Yeah.
So that's
good fit. I guess it's good
very good fit. He is the perfect face for that franchise. Leading scorer from this game, Hassan Reddick, 24 points, 3 tackles, 2 sacks. Fletcher Cox got in on the sack party as well, 3 tackles, a sack, a forced fumble. Darius Slay, 17 points. Stephon Gilmore, 15 points. Nicholas Morrow, 6 tackles, 15 points. Jalen Carter had the Fumble recovery, touchdown, 14 points for him, 13 points for Micah Parsons, 2 tackles and a sack. Donovan Wilson, 13 points, 5 tackles, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. Marquise Bell, 13 points, 4 tackles, a forced fumble. Sidney Brown was in for Reed Blankenship. That's another big safety injury you need to pay attention to. And I'm telling you, concussion protocol has been hard to pass this year. So Reed Blankenship is probably in concussion protocol at this point. So his status for next week would be very much in doubt in my mind. So you probably want to prioritize Sidney Brown as an add there, who had 13 points and 8 tackles. Dron Bland, 12 points. Damone Clark, 11 points, 4 tackles and a fumble recovery. So good to see Reddick just kind of wrecking shop a little bit here, Addy.
Yeah, he's been awesome this year, like he's been the last 3 years. Kevin Byard, he's been pretty good. He's kind of been slow as of late, but he's been pretty good on the season. Sucks about Reed Blankenship.
Yeah,
he was
man.
headed for another, I think, really solid game. I mean, he had 3 tackles that first quarter and then exited with the concussion.
Yeah.
Josh Sweat has been quiet this year.
Yeah, it was 9 points and 5 tackles for Byard. Just wanted to kind of follow up on that. But yeah, Josh Sweat, was he anywhere to be found in this game?
No.
He had 4 points. He had 3 tackles.
Yeah, he has not been.
Let's look at the log for Josh Sweat.
No sacks in the last 4 games.
He started off the year really
Yes.
solid, though. 10, 21, 4, 15, 11, 20, 23, 2, but then 15, 10, 4, 4, 3. So been quiet as of late.
Does have a nice schedule, though. Gets Seattle, gets the Giants, gets Arizona, gets the Giants again in Week 18 if you play that.
You do, yeah. If you're in the Hunger Games, the IDP Hunger Games, if you're in one of our RSO leagues,
That's right.
could be a nice matchup
That's
there.
right. Best ball won't matter. I mean, you don't have to make a decision. That's
right.
Yeah, it's a good schedule. But, yeah, the usual suspects.
Yeah. So there you go, folks. That was the Week 14 recap. Some really
Do we have the
interesting
breakdown of
developments.
those linebackers?
Yes, we actually do for Philadelphia.
Yes.
Yeah, check Macri. I know.
Let's take a look.
Yeah, I've got it pulled up here for us. So Philadelphia linebackers: Nicholas Morrow, 78%; Zach Cunningham, 74%; Shaq Leonard, 17%. Leonard's first game with the Eagles does not play an IDP relevant role right away, as expected, to be determined if it happens at all. So there you go. Cunningham and Morrow are the only 2 that you want right now. And Shaq Leonard, it remains to be seen what kind of role he is going to have. Now, if one of these guys gets injured, I think that could thrust Shaq Leonard into the spotlight, perhaps on an expedited timeline for what the Eagles would want. But I don't know. Shaq Leonard just kind of feels like he's looming as a potential wild card for the IDP playoffs because the linebackers have been getting hurt left, right, and center. Philadelphia knows this just about as well as anyone. So we'll see what happens. But, playoffs starting, Addy. This is it. Kind of crazy. We have reached the end of the fantasy football regular season. We've got 2 Monday night games tomorrow, which is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, who is it? We got Miami and the
Miami
Giants.
and the Titans.
Okay, Miami Titans.
And then the Giants and I don't know who else is playing. I know the Commandos are off this week. And then that's the only one I can remember off the top of my head that's off this week. So
Van Ginkel could be a big game for him. Duke Riley, I think, is someone that you need to add right now just in case he blows up. I pretty much added him in every single dynasty league. He should be out there for you.
It's Packers and Giants. That's a nice little game.
Giants, that could be fun.
Titans, Dolphins, both games happening at the same time.
Could be a big Kayvon game.
Yep.
Wonder which one's going to be on primetime.
I think one's probably going to be on ABC and one's going to be on ESPN if I had to guess.
Oh,
Let's
nice.
see. ABC for Green Bay and the Giants, and then ESPN for Tennessee, Miami. So there you go.
Tighten up.
Tighten up. There'll be a lot of people sweating because that's 4 teams. That's quite a few relevant players.
Is that
Miami.
yeah.
You got some relevant IDPs for all these teams. Quay Walker, Devondre Campbell,
Quay
Van
Walker's
Ginkel.
out, I think. I think he's
Is he?
doubtful for this one. So
I did see he was doubtful. I think Devondre
Isaiah
Campbell.
McDuffie,
Yep,
fire him
McDuffie.
up if you need a linebacker last minute.
So there you go, folks. Thank you all for tuning in this week. We really appreciate it. Hopefully these recaps and the other shows we've been doing throughout the season have helped get you into the playoffs. And if so, we're going to help get you over the hump, get you that title. And if not, well, we're going to be doing some dynasty-focused episodes to help you look forward to 2024.
I love getting through 14 weeks. We get it's just a perfect balance. You get 7 weeks. 7 weeks.
It's beautiful.
We get to do some splittings.
Some splittings.
Yes, sir.
Some leavings.
Some splittings in the stats.
Some biggins.
Yeah, so expect some stat stuff to be coming y'all's way soon. I'm gonna try and work on some getting those logs and just kind of dig out some cool little nugs and maybe share those with some folks.
You're gonna get in the logs and dig out some nugs.
That's right.
Love it.
I'm gonna get my hands dirty.
You better.
No gloves.
No gloves. Trey Hendrickson style. Well, we will be.
You want to shake my hand?
I do not. I don't know where that hand has been, and I'm scared to ask.
The logs.
We'll be back next week with the Week 15 recap, and I'll be back tomorrow night with Mike Wallert talking waivers. Jace will be back with John Norton talking rankings, and then I'll be back on Friday talking about Dynasty Stashes with Sigmund Bloom and Dynasty Trip. So next week we got an IDP Bets episode coming up with Scott Bogman. We've got Jason King back next week for waivers. We've got Matt Schauf. Got John Macri coming up for rankings. I mean,
wow.
Just even
Just
if you're
who's
out of it,
who.
folks, stay plugged in because
Yeah.
the content is going to be so excellent these last few weeks.
Just brilliant minds.
Brilliant minds all the way around.
Sure. Hey, brilliant minds seem to find each other.
They do indeed,
Sure.
especially around this table.
Sure.
Maybe half a brilliant mind
Sure.
between the two of us. So thank you all for tuning in. We will be back next week. Until then, enjoy the football. Y'all take care, and we'll see you soon.
It's an honor to serve you.
It's the IDP